there is a role of a parent, not just to give your child things, not just to give them love, but also to teach them, to guide them, and to mold them into stand-up citizens, into self-regulated individuals, into thoughtful individuals, into people who are respectful of their elders. So it's not just what you give them, which is, we could bucket that under the support, right, bucket, but it's also what we expect of them. That's another thing you have to give them, is expectations. Welcome back to Hi Fam, to this Avital React segment. I'm so glad you guys are loving these. Make sure to subscribe and hit the like button, and let's get into it. Today, my team have set up a TikTok for me to watch. I have not seen it yet, but they said I absolutely have to see this and react to it. So let's watch it together.
I'm going to talk about something that we don't talk about enough. And I don't want to hear any judgment from moms. Because I'm a kind, gentle person. And I never even talked back to my mom growing up. And if I ever did, oh my gosh. My kids beat me up. They beat me up. My 7 and my 5-year-old beat me. Today I was kicked in the chest, slapped in the face, and punched in the jaw for trying to get pants on a kid to go to school. The issue is, there was no discipline we're allowed to give back. I've tried timeouts. I've tried taking things away. I've tried removing all the screens from the house. I've tried taking away privileges. I've tried taking away extracurriculars. I've tried reasoning with them. I've tried putting in their rooms and taking everything out. I have tried reward systems. I have tried just telling them how much it hurts mommy's heart. But I'm still getting beaten every day, and not a little bit. Bruises on my back, punches in the face, slapped across the face, kicked in the mouth, head-butted, bit. For something as simple as, hey guys, get your clothes on, we gotta get ready for school. My kids have more than I ever dreamed of as a child. They have more love than I ever received as a child. They're still allowed to sleep in bed with mom. They have more toys than I could have ever dreamed of. They have loving parents that get along. We co-parent well. We do everything right. I try to make sure they get book fare, they get special lunches, they get pizza days, they get everything. I tried, and I'm a single mom, and I have no money, and I'm doing everything. Everything is for my kids. I haven't bought something new for myself in 5 years since I got divorced. Everything mine is either out of my dad's storage locker buys or thrift stores if I'm lucky. Because if I ever have extra money, it's food or whatever they need for school. And I'm getting punched in the face for asking them to get dressed. I never laid a hand on my mom because I knew what would have happened if I did. And I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not the only mom dealing with this. It's been 4 years of me every morning dreading this moment of trying to get my kids ready for the bus because I know I'm gonna be told I'm dumb, I'm a loser, they're gonna beat me up, they're gonna hate me. And I'm so tired of dealing with it. When we were little, we got up, we got ready. What happened? What happened? I'm so tired, I just don't know what to do. And whatever suggestion you give me, I've tried it. I've tried it. I know I don't do the other thing because 1, that's awful, and 2, you're not allowed to do anything like that. And I don't condone it. But I don't know how to get my kids to stop punching me in the face and beating me. So if you have any suggestions, I'll be here crying on my bathroom floor wondering why my kids hate me. Because that's how I feel.
Okay, so that is such a sad video to watch. It really breaks my heart to see parents who feel so overwhelmed and so incapable of controlling their kids' worst sides and worst behavior, of shaping their kids into respectful children. And, barring any very serious psychiatric condition that would make that extra hard or even impossible with particular children. And that is very rare. And I don't want to go down that path because I think so often we just kind of default to there must be a diagnosis and pathologize what is just simply bad behavior. And so I don't want to go down that route, but just to disclaim that barring anything like that, there are so many things that come up for me as I watch this. So first of all, the mom says, whatever you suggest, I've already tried it, but also what should I do, right? She's clearly desperate. She's coming onto social media to ask strangers on the internet what she should do. And, this is tragic and sad that she's reached this place with a 5 and 7-year-old. So it's been going on for many, many years, right? And I think she actually leads a lot of breadcrumbs and a lot of hints as to why this might be the case. And I know that this is all coming from love. There's no question that this mom is doing what she's doing for her children because she thinks it makes her a good mom. And she even said so in this video. She said, we've done everything right. And then she lists the things that she's done right. And it's things like we've given them pizza day. We've given them a book fair. We've given them more toys than we ever had, more love than we ever had. And it's all about what we've given the child. And to me, that's the biggest clue that this mom could be starting to look at, is that her focus and her definition from this short, 4-minute video seems to be that good parenting is equal to giving my children things, giving them mostly physical things, but also giving them love. And she suggests that the only other option, she says, I'm not going to try the other thing. There's one other thing, and I'm not going to try it, is violence, right? That's what it sounds like she's saying. Like, I'm not going to hit my kids, so don't tell me to, because I don't condone that and I don't believe in that. Happens to be the first comment on this video is slap the life out of them. So I guess there are other people in the comments who also think that that's the only other option that there is. And that really breaks my heart to think that people don't know and don't understand that there is authority and leadership without violence. That there is a role of a parent, not just to give your child things, not just to give them love, but also to teach them, to guide them, and to mold them into stand-up citizens, into self-regulated individuals, into thoughtful individuals, into people who are respectful of their elders. So it's not just what you give them, which is, we could bucket that under the support, right, bucket. Like, yep, we've got to give them support. It's good that she's giving them all those things. It's good that she's supporting them. I think too many toys and too many treats and pizza days and all of that, that can go too far and make spoiled brats, which it sounds like it has. They sound extremely entitled. But it's also what we expect of them. That's another thing you have to give them, is expectations. They need boundaries. They need consequences. They need rules. They need expectations from their parent. The first time this mother received a violent maneuver from her child should have been the moment that, well, it was already late, right? But we've all had that. I've had my kids hit me, or throw something at me. Okay, that's the moment that you swoop in with clear, firm expectations that will never happen again. Now, she says she's tried timeouts and boundaries and consequences and all of those things. I don't know. I don't have the videos. I can't see what's happened inside her house, but she's clearly now giving the child expectations that tomorrow they're going to hit her again. The child has received the energy from this mom that she's just a loving mom. She's a victim of this situation. She's completely helpless to stop it. She's tried everything. What's she going to do next? Now, I know that's authentic. I know she really feels that way. And I have nothing but empathy for that, sorrowful, pitiful, helpless feeling. We've all been there and it sucks. But what I do want to tell this mom, and this is the tough love, but it's also the liberation, is that this is a monster of your making. You have led to this situation with your lack of expectations on your child. And therefore, I know that sounds like judgment and you asked me not to judge you, but it's not coming from a place of judgment. It's coming from a place of saying, because you're the one who's led them down this path, you are the one who can also wind them out of this path. You can roll it back. Okay, you're the one who has the control to set the authority in the home, to be the leader in the home. And either you believe this idea that you just received these children, right? This is just how they came onto this earth. There was nothing you could have done differently. And you actually say that in your video, we've done everything right. But the things that you're listing that you've done right is just all about the things that you've given them. And I would like to hear the things you're doing right in terms of the expectations that you're putting on them. Clearly, whatever you've done in the timeouts, time-ins, consequences, etc., realm of setting boundaries and setting expectations wasn't enough. You needed to go further. You need to go further now, because an unruly and disrespectful, and in this case, extremely violent 5-year-old is still kind of like, okay, they're still in early childhood. They're still little, it's a bit too late, but you can still grab that. A 7-year-old who's violent towards you needs real parental clarity, authority, and confidence. And one of the key things that I'm getting from this video is this lack of confidence. It's this feeling like, well, what can I do? I give up. Internet, save me. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how I got here. And I think that that's fair enough that you feel that way. But that energy is obviously being portrayed to your children as well. What are you doing when they're beating you? I mean, beating is a really powerful word. It's a really strong word, what you're saying here. These are strong accusations that you have bruises from your children. Now, I think many people watching this video might say, look, Avital, I have a really violent and aggressive child. They have thrown something at me. They have hit me and it did bruise me once. Like, this is not out of the realm of what ordinary parents might experience, with a particularly out of control and aggressive child. Okay, so I'm not going to say like, wow, that's so extreme. I've never heard of such a thing. I've heard of such a thing. But the repetitiveness and the surrender that you seem to have to this situation, and the fact that it's both of them, right? This is all telling me a lot in terms of how you respond to it. And it's telling me that you have really walked yourself into a victim mindset. And that victim mindset perpetuates the dynamic that they are aggressors and that you are a victim, instead of they are children and you are their parent. You are their guide. You are their leader. You are responsible for their behavior. You need to put an end to aggressive behavior. Why are they getting fairs and pizzas and all the toys in the world if this is how they behave? I mean, just a simple question. Like, I'm not saying that there should always be this, like, you yourself brought up reward systems. I'm just curious, like, why are you continuing to lavish them with extras, with treats, with rewards when this is how they behave? Just a thought, right? Like, are you taking your children to pizza when they beat you that morning? Like, I'm not. My children beat me that morning. The last thing I'm doing is doing something extra and something exciting and something fun, right? I'm getting really serious with them about what that means, about how they need to make amends. I'm guiding them into an apology letter. We're having serious conversations. We are practicing what they're going to do next time. They are looking for ways to be extra helpful, extra humble, taking steps back and being like, of course, I'm not going to ask for screen time. Of course, I'm not going to ask for a pizza outing. I'm really not in a position to be negotiating or asking for anything after the way I treated you this morning, right? This is a time for them to be eating humble pie, making sincere apologies, making real plans with you for how that will never happen again, right? And understanding the severity of this. And I don't want to lay on this mom. She's clearly asking for no judgment. But I do want to share that this is about taking real accountability and responsibility for not raising boys who think that violence is acceptable, right? You are just 10 years away, okay? Less, 8 years away from raising God forbid, a gang member. Right? That child hits 15, 16, he's hit puberty. You can't stand up to him anymore. You can't keep him in the house anymore. You can't put consequences on him anymore because he just literally physically walks all over you. And that's why we discipline children while they're young, so that they can go through childhood successfully. They can garner fondness and mentorship and investment from the adults in the community around them because they're pleasant, because they're civilized, because they're pro-social, and they're going to, really have people around them like and respect them. And so that we can teach them the hard lessons when the stakes are still very low. A 2-year-old hitting you, that's the time to take care of that. By the time they're 4, it's big. Them hitting you at that point hurts. A 5, 7-year-old, a 10-year-old, that already could become a child that's your height, right? That you can no longer physically contain and have the authority and the power over them in the best possible way. So she says, I've had counseling, I've had a doctor's visit. What do I do? And here's what I would say that you do is that you now need to completely reverse the narrative. The issue here is it's many things, but it's not the things you're talking about. It's your own mindset. It's that you don't see yourself as a leader. You see yourself as a provider. You see yourself as someone who has to give your children everything you didn't have, who has to give them love, who has to give them attention, who has to shower them with gifts and with all kinds of things that are only going to make them materialistic, entitled, expectant of more, right? Consumers. And you don't see yourself as someone who has to guide their moral compass, build them into people who have self-regulation, who have delayed gratification, who are focused on what to give rather than what to receive, who are focused on what they owe you, not on what you owe them. We reviewed one of the TikTok videos with a big parenting expert saying, your children don't owe you anything. And I see the direct relationship between that and this, right? She's thinking, my children don't owe me anything. I'm just so sad that they don't want to respect me, that they want to beat me every day when I give them everything. I owe them everything. I need to give and give and give and give, but I don't expect anything in return. The expectations are completely missing here, right? I know she says she's tried A, B, C, and D, but I suspect that she hasn't tried them with the mindset, with the internalized identity of someone who has authority and leadership in the household. And that is probably because she was on the receiving end of authoritarian parenting. She hints to that. She says she gives much more love than she ever got. Maybe she never got any love. And she thinks that all she has to give her children is support, right? Because many gentle parenting ideas go in that direction. Like, never interfere, never teach, your children don't owe you anything. Just ask them if you have anything to apologize for. Just ask them if you've hurt them in any way. Just reflect on yourself. 99% of the time, it's you who's the issue. You need to look in the mirror. Now, this woman isn't beating her child. Her children are beating her. It's their behavior that's the issue. She needs to come down on that like a ton of bricks. Not physically, not violently, but with absolute clarity, and physically in the sense of blocking and stopping, right? There should never be a situation where a child actually gets through to hurt their parent, right? Way before that, she should be stopping them, picking them up, putting them in their room, right? Whatever it is that she needs to do. And I'm not prescribing very specific tactics here because it depends on a million things, but basically, the basic idea is setting a clear boundary, communicating it once, and then following through on a consequence, right? That's the behavior modification model. And yeah, we all need a bit of behavioralism because some of us, like this woman, if you just go down the path of softness and surrender and gentle everything and support all the way down, right? She's supporting violent negative behavior. She's supporting disrespect, expectant, entitled, terrible behaviors that, the trajectory for this is not good. It doesn't get better unless you make a change, okay? Someone said in the comments, so sorry, maybe they need to see you put yourself first, show them how you should be treated. I hope you find answers. And I want to say that is a good point because she keeps saying, I haven't spent any money on myself. I've done everything for my children, right? And that's, it's great that you're providing for them, but it sounds like you're going above and beyond just to prove your love to them on some kind of mission to overcompensate for the childhood that you had. And you're not doing them any favors by that. You're actually making them little violent kings who expect you to be their doormat, who you have now taught them to expect you to bend over backwards, to give, and to never expect anything in return. I think that's a terrible route for them. And here's what I want to say. Don't hit your children. Okay, do not hit your children. Do not use violence. But the way she says at the end, I'm not going to do the other thing. And she doesn't realize that what she's doing to them now is also abusive and neglectful. What she's doing to them now, allowing them to grow into violent tyrants, allowing them to grow into, gangsters who beat their moms, the level of imprint and messed upness that's going to give a young boy and what it's going to set him up for in his life. I don't know which is worse, right? We don't need to have that competition or have that conversation. Neither is good. Let's just put it that way. And she's horrified to even consider another route, right? A violent route of hitting your children, of having physical consequences. I'm horrified too. I don't want that route either. But I have to say, I'm equally horrified by what she's doing. And I think she's just blind because she's been so blinded by our cultural vibes at the moment of just gentle everything and soft everything. And the parent has to just take it and you have to just sit there and say, oh, can you use nice hands? Can you use nice words? And it's pathetic and it leads to complete disenfranchisement of the parent. It's disempowering, but it's so unfair on the children, right? It teaches the children to become monsters. And that is why I don't think she's doing her children the favor she thinks she's doing them when she says, I've done everything right. I've given them everything. No, you haven't, honey. You haven't given them expectations and consequences and boundaries. And you haven't given them the mindset that they are here on this planet with other people to give and to think of others and to be thoughtful and not to constantly think of themselves. It's normal for a 2-year-old to have that narcissistic, bent that all toddlers have. There's just me, mine, no. But by the time they're 4, we're trying to socialize them to be considering others and to be thinking about the consequences of their actions and to be considering their environment. And that's not happening here. So you're giving them all the support, but you haven't given them the expectations. It's not too late. Now is the time to swoop in and do it. And I also just want to extend a massive hug to you because I know you've been doing your best. You've gone through a divorce, which of course we haven't even discussed because you didn't give much information about that. But going through a divorce, going through financial stress, all of these things are going to put massive layers of tension and friction and stress on your shoulders that make it very hard for you to then stand up straight and set clear boundaries with your child. So a lot of empathy for that. But those things also affect your ability to lead, right? Those things also affect your ability to set boundaries. The real, kicker, the real paradox here is that's when you need it the most. When other things are falling apart, when a divorce is happening, when financial strain is happening, when disease, when war, when hurricanes are happening, that's when we have to step into the leadership role and not recede into a victim role, right? Not just take it, right? That's on the contrary. That's the time when we need to have stronger, firmer boundaries. That's actually the time in some ways. This is going to sound really crazy, but in some ways, our children need less support from us in those moments and more expectations, right? It's when we need to hold things together tighter. Think about it like this, a captain of a ship, yeah? When the ship is running smooth sailing, the captain can play soccer with his staff. The captain can play cards. The captain can joke around. The captain can ease up a little bit on the rotor and jump in with some of the chores and let the team kind of tease him. And he doesn't have to be in such a powerful role of authority. But the moment there's a storm, okay, the moment everybody's in jeopardy, everybody's in peril, a storm is hitting, that's when the captain has to tighten his ship, okay? That's when he has to run it with a steel fist, right? With iron resolve. That's when he can't loosen up on the hierarchy, on the authority, on the rotors, on the responsibilities, who's doing this, who's manning that. Because if they do, they're actually at risk, right? Bad things could really happen. The ship could go under. They could capsize. It's serious. The consequences are much higher. So that's not the time. We always think, oh, a child's going through a divorce, child's going through a hard time. They don't have a lot of money in the bank. Things are tight. Things are hard. Just give them a lot of love. Just you spoil them. Give them more pizza. Give them more toys. Compensate for the toughness that they're experiencing in the world. And the truth is the opposite. Yes, of course, some love, some support, some listening ears, but that's when they most need to see a captain at the helm. That's when they most need to see that you mean business, that you're clear, that you have vision, you have direction, you have the GPS, you know where you're going, and you're not going to let them mess around. And that is what's missing here. It's not the support, it's the expectations. I really hope this helps. I don't know if this mother's going to see this video, but if you do, I want you to know that all of this was said only with love and with your family's best interest at heart. If you want more help becoming the leader that you are meant to become and can become, then join the studio. That is where I teach these skills in depth. Or if you can't afford to do that right now, go listen to my podcast and watch my videos. I have a lot of videos on setting boundaries, on being the captain, on feeling like a leader, on consequences, on follow through, on boundaries, and on not letting go of a clear and compelling culture and values for our children. Let me know below if this was helpful for you. What is your key takeaway from this video? And did you know that I have an Instagram account? I would love to connect with you there. So go over to Instagram and leave me a pumpkin emoji, and I will respond with a unicorn emoji. And that way I know you made it to the end of this video. Make sure to hit the subscribe and the like button. That really, really helps me. It's free and it makes the biggest impact on this channel. And share this video with anyone who you think might find it interesting or helpful. Much, much love, and I'll see you in next time. Meanwhile, keep on living that high fam life.